Good evening, everyone. My name is Chastity Martinez, and I'm a student leader with an organization called Young Evangelicals for Climate Action. Young Evangelicals for Climate Action is a group of young Christians coming together and taking action to overcome the climate crisis as an expression of our witness and discipleship. We're here motivated by our faith distinctly, because we believe that God created the world and He created it to be good. Because of our faith, we believe that we are called to love all of creation as well and to work for its flourishing and well-being and stand against its exploitation. Our faith is a faith that looks out into the world and sees that those who are already suffering the most from the impacts of climate change are those who have contributed the least to the problem and are least equipped to adapt. It is a faith that calls us to love all of our global neighbors, especially the poor and marginalized around the world for whom climate change is not an abstract debate, but a daily threat to survival. We are here because we understand that climate change is not just a single party's political issue, but that at its core, climate change, is a moral issue. It's an issue of injustice. And as Christians, it is our obligation to stand up and speak out on behalf of the earth, the poor, and future generations. So that's why we are here tonight, calling on the debate monitor, Chris Wallace, to stop the climate silence and to ask the climate question at tonight's debate. That is why Young Evangelicals for Climate Action has been spending the whole debate season calling on all of our political leaders and candidates from every party and at every level to put forward a plan for how they will tackle the challenge of climate change. Given the threat that it poses to the earth and to the poor and vulnerable around the world, we believe that climate change is the greatest moral challenge of our time. Even recently, we saw the devastating effects of Hurricane Matthew, and one can't help but wonder that if global warming continues, or that if temperatures continue to rise, then how much more devastation will we see from future storms? How much more loss of life will we see because of climate change? Because this is the legacy of climate change: increased intensity of natural disasters, rising food insecurity, and unspeakable hardship for the poorest around the world. Those who have contributed next to nothing to the problem, but yet are already bearing the brunt of the consequences. But if climate change is the greatest moral challenge of our time, it's also perhaps humankind's greatest opportunity. If we can find the will to phase out fossil fuels and to increase clean energy production, we'll not only generate untold economic growth, but will also secure a sustainable future for generations to come. If we can find the compassion to respond to climate impacts around the world with empathy and action, we can spark a movement of community and solidarity that has never been seen in this world. If we can respond to climate change with courage, creativity, and love, then perhaps history will remember those of us now living, not for our denial or apathy in the face of the climate crisis, but for laying the groundwork for a more just, equitable, and sustainable world. So most of us here are from the University of Nevada, Reno. We also have students from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and we're here acting with urgency on this issue because this is a problem that is desperately urgent. But we are not here without hope. We find hope in the rapid ratification of the Paris Agreement, the world's most ambitious action on climate change to date, due to enter into force November 4th. We find hope in the world's commitment to the Green Climate Fund and to ensuring that the global transition to a clean energy future is equitable and just. We find hope in the growing movement to divest from fossil fuels and to reinvest in clean energy technologies. We find hope in the plunging cost of renewable energy like wind and solar, and in the rising numbers of Americans who say that human-induced climate change is a major problem that must be addressed. But more than all of these things, as Christians, we have hope in the manifest promises of God. Because thanks be to God, our ultimate hope does not lie in political candidates, but in the incarnate Lord of all creation, Jesus Christ. Our hope is in the God who created a good world that He loves, who calls us to love it with Him, and to partner with Him in restoring all things. He's a God who promises that He's already making everything new and reconciling all things to Himself.